Salutations, nerds! We're watching the MCU and all of its glory.
Welcome back to Phased Out, the show designed to make Nick hate Jared and I, although I think if it hasn't happened by now, it probably isn't going to happen. Today, we
should make it. The series designed to make Nick hate the MCU. He never will, but...
I don't think it's working, though, because as he watches these movies, I think he's softening to them.
Yeah, for the most part. The ones I hate, I don't hate as much, I guess.
But I think the ones that you liked are just kind of, yeah. The loved ones will stay loved, but I think other ones you're like, I've seen this too much.
I wonder how many watches it'll take to get him to like Thor: Love and Thunder.
I don't think...
To actively like it.
The number exists, Jake.
Are you sure?
I don't think it's possible in a lifetime for me to watch that movie enough times to actually like the movie.
Anyway, this week we are talking about Wakanda Forever, are we not?
Yep.
This is the second Black Panther, obviously released and written after the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. My take on this is it's kind of a boring movie. Not even kind of, just is a boring movie.
You can tell that it's kind of, the story is all over the place, kind of thrown together, and I think, Nick, me and you... around the time the movie came out, had talked about, like, they had, and we probably mentioned it here before, they had a screenplay or, like, a draft done before Chadwick died. And then after he died, it's like, okay.
This is has to be a completely different movie now.
We have to change this completely. Wasn't there, they moved it back, didn't they? Yes. Wasn't it supposed to be early slate 2021?
I believe so.
Or 2022, and they moved it.
Is it November?
Yeah, wasn't it supposed to be in Doctor Strange's slot? Didn't they like switch them or something? You can look this up on the internet.
I think that and Guardians all switched at the same time for some reason.
Yeah, just constant moving around, and even though he died in 2020, right?
Yeah.
But I think this was supposed to be earlier, but then setbacks for script and whatnot, and then they do reshoots for all these movies. Yeah. So
and you add on top of that COVID and trying to get all that together, it makes sense that this movie's kind of a mess.
Yeah, I don't know that necessarily excuses it, but
I think you can cut it some slack for a bit, but when you make your movie 2.5 hours, it's also like, okay, I can cut you a little bit, but when you have so much that probably needs to get cut or trimmed, I don't know if I can give you that much leeway because you left a bunch in.
My primary issue with it, well, I have a couple of primary issues. One of the primary issues I have with it is, like, I remember, like, I don't think that Black Panther is the best movie in the MCU, but there's a lot of interesting camera work. Like, there's some cool shots and movements and stuff like that. In here, there's nothing. Like, if you watch the fights, it's just shots of people throwing punches. There's no, like, it doesn't feel like there's any choreography to it. It's just cut, punch, cut, punch, cut, punch.
There's one shot, and it's lame, and it's them jumping over the side of the boat. And I thought, is there, like, because it starts, it goes, and it goes into the slow motion. You go, is there going to be a cool cut or a cool camera? No, we're just following them, like, running down the side of a boat.
There's no movement to it. Like, even, like, the chase scene where we're first introduced to, what is she called? Ironheart? Mm-hmm. Where we're first introduced to her in the garage. Like, I really liked when they transitioned to the Riri Williams character in the comic books, like, after Tony Stark died. And that's a really cool idea. But, like, in the first Black Panther, and I know I shouldn't compare them, but, like, it's hard not to.
You have to, though. Yeah. It's a direct sequel.
That has one of the most interesting car chases in the MCU. This, it's not really a car chase. It's just... I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just watching them go forward.
There's one cool part of it, and that's the spear stopping the car.
Yeah.
That's like it, and it's like more of that. Like Okoye just throwing that spear down, just like that. It's great. But it's a pretty bland, soulless chase to get to the bridge fight, which is okay.
It's one of my favorite fights in the movie, but also, like what Jake said, because the camera work is nothing special, it's just back and forth. It's like 2 one-shots they're just switching between.
Well, I mean, and I guess that's not really the fight that it's centered around so much as the fight with the, what are they called again? My brain always wants to call them Atlanteans,
Fish
but it's
people.
not that.
Fish people. It's like they're not. Yeah, they're not. It's like
Yeah.
it starts with a T. We watched this movie. I swear.
To be fair,
the blue
like,
people.
Like the last time I watched this, it was hard to keep my eyes
Oh,
open
the
for a lot of
Na'vi.
it. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
The underwater Na'vi.
Yeah, I just.
Anyway,
We'll get to that later.
that fight is cool, and like, there's a lot of interesting ideas in pitting the two things against. Because don't get me wrong, I get the juxtaposition of the two like unknown countries, as it were, of the world or people, and like, it just is so boring.
Well, now I get to bring up the whole plot of the villain is dumb. Now,
Hey, don't say that about Sir Flappy
funny
Ankles.
fish boy Namor. So his whole thing is, I don't want my hidden civilization to get found out by the world. Makes sense. They're mining for vibranium, which is a big thing for Wakanda. It's like, that's kind of pushing against all their traditions and beliefs. Don't really go into that at all. They bring it up. It's like, but that's not what the story said.
Yeah.
So Fish Boy is scared because they're mining close and they might discover him, and he wants to get rid of Riri. So he wants the world not to focus on his country that they doesn't know exists. So what does he do? He attacks the most watched country in the world in broad daylight.
See,
The whole world is watching Wakanda at this
I
point.
really think that story deserves its own movie.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's interesting. But like, how interesting would it have been if the whole movie centered around like them trying to deal with the political fallout of basically hiding this resource? I know it's not Marvel exciting, but like, just the way that Angela Bassett handles herself in the two like big speech scenes that she has are just wonderful.
Yeah. You're talking in front of them at the beginning, and then
at
the throne room.
at the UN summit,
Thank you.
and then the
Throne room.
scene.
Throne room scene is one of the best acted
But like,
scenes in the whole
within
MCU.
that, you could tie in the passing the torch to Shuri.
Yeah, just that whole plan of Fish Boy is dumb. And what is our big set piece at the end? Fighting blue people on a big boat out in the ocean.
Well,
there wasn't another movie that came out
The
that year.
ugliest costumes. I hate the bird-looking costumes that they give the Dora Milaje in this movie. It's so bad.
You want to talk about another thing that's dumb and pointless? Why did they wait to have them come into the fight? There's no reason other than a movie reveal
Also,
of the
why-
costume.
why
They
did
could have
they-
been there the whole time.
Yep.
Why do they only have two of them?
There's more than
Those
two of them.
suits.
Yeah,
No.
there's a few.
There
You
were
sure?
like 5.
Yeah.
I thought there was only two.
Well, probably at the end. Because people were dropping left and right. But it's like, they say something to Okoye over the radio. Okoye, and then they say, like, incoming.
Yeah.
And I was like, so they swoop in to save the day, quote unquote. What strategic advantage is that? They just landed on the boat and started punching people. They probably could have been there at the start.
You know what? I don't really understand because I'm thinking about it now. The underwater people are mostly computer animated, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't they just paint people blue?
Like makeup.
Yeah. Because, like, I was thinking about the jumping over the side of the ship and fighting. Like, they're clearly not fighting anything. Like, I saw one of the guard, I can never remember what they're called, like, swinging
Dora
her...
Milaje.
What'd you say?
Dora Milaje? Is that his name?
Dora Milaje.
I'm looking at it, so I'm hoping I'm saying it right.
So one of the Dora Milaje, I saw her swinging her spear, and, like, it's coming up, like, this short of the... Like, it's clearly not hitting anything.
And those are heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have-
well, it
they have
stopped the
weight to
car.
Yeah, and both movies, they have shown how powerful these little spears are, too. And then there's...
Well, and then you cut to M'Baku, who's fighting, supposedly surrounded, and he's, like, hitting things, and it's like, that's not impacting anything. That's not impacting... Like, there's no weight to things anymore because everything's made with a computer.
Yep.
No hate to the people that animate the things on the computer, believe me, but, like, I feel bad for you having to make something out of nothing.
Well, and then... So they can heal somehow. Not that you have to explain every little thing, but it's such a big moment on the bridge where they all stand up.
Yep.
Okay, where does this go? Nowhere. And they can just get shot and die, or on the boat they're dying. How? I thought they could heal. That was kind of just dropped.
They got weak spots, Jared. You get them right here, they die. You get them down in the kneecap, they die. But everywhere else, they're fine.
They're like Skyrim characters.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you can land a crit shot, you're good.
on their knee.
On their knees, yeah.
But we did get more M'Baku.
We did.
He doesn't really have anything to do, but I don't
know.
care.
It's just nice to see Winston at all times.
He is kind of at the pivot point of the movie.
True. And they've kind of set up that he's going to become king, right?
Yeah.
Which, could Winston Duke just be everyone's king? Please. He's already a king, but like...
Please.
You know,
I don't know. It sounds like he's trying to jump ship and go over to DC and play Batman at some point. So
I'd watch that Batman.
So would I.
I thought Robert Pattinson was their Batman. No,
yeah,
because it's kind of a different thing.
That's a separate universe.
Yep.
Yeah, not part of James Gunn's.
Yeah, M'Baku, good to see him. I remember hearing Daniel Kaluuya had scheduling conflicts, so his character's not in the movie, and they do the thing that they did in Infinity War where the River Tribe kind of turned on the king, and we get one line.
Yep.
What's left of the River Tribe? It's like, that's really interesting. I know in this movie we don't have time, but we don't elaborate. And then they like kind of hint at in that line to Okoye that Daniel Kaluuya is in prison of some sort, or like exiled. It's like, that's a really interesting thing, and we haven't seen any of the fallout or anything for the River Tribe really outside of the ones left that fight.
I wonder
in Infinity
if we
War
would have
Endgame.
seen more of it had Chadwick not passed.
Honestly, I think this movie could have been the River Tribe aligning with the Blue people now that their king is dead to try to take over Wakanda with what's left, and that would have made more sense than this. Everything else that happened in this movie,
like have an actual civil war, not just have a couple people fighting in the background in the backyard. Because that's because I remember thinking, this is a very big moment in this country's history in the first movie, and it's like 30 of us in the backyard fighting, and people are dying.
Yeah,
you're fighting yourselves. It should be heavier, and it's just kind of brushed aside at the end. The first movie is better than this.
It is.
There are many parts of the first movie that I appreciate. Their performances of the first movie I appreciate. Not that there isn't in this, but like the first movie at least has character, as you have said. Mm-hmm. And this one, it doesn't have anything at its core because not only did they lose that, Letitia Wright just does not have charisma or screen presence.
What I was about to say is anytime throughout this entire movie, I kind of just wish it was more about Denai Guerrero's character, because Okoye, because there's so much more interesting and far better actors in this movie. Like, what is it with the Black Panther movies and the lead being the least interesting one in the movie?
There are three female main characters who are more interesting more just better acted in this movie than Letitia Wright is Shuri.
We were talking about it off camera. Angela, if you, instead of killing Angela Bassett's character, kill up Shuri and make the Queen the Black Panther, that's way more interesting, I think, than the way it happened.
She didn't even need to drink the stuff. Have you seen Angela Bassett's arms? She could rip us in half.
Good for her.
Also,
I know.
Also, I think it's really weird. I never felt... I mean, intellectually, I know, but I never felt like Chadwick Boseman was not in the suit. It does not look like Shuri is in this suit.
No.
It's too skinny. Mm-hmm. Unless she is actually that thin.
She is very skinny.
She's very small, but... Like,
isn't the suit supposed to fill you out a little more?
Different.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the movement, I think particularly it's one shot where she's getting up on the beach where she finally has the final fight with Namor, and she gets up, and it's like her legs don't move right, and I'm like,
it's like the salt planet in The Last Jedi. You know how like the tease that Luke's not there is there's no red when he moves his feet. It's like that on the beach. There's like nothing moving when she walks.
Yeah.
Whereas one is, it's a projection. This is, that just doesn't look good because these poor special effects artists have to work on 3 movies and 3 TV shows. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like that next year too.
Next year with 4 movies.
Isn't it 4? Yeah.
So far at this point, we've said over and over, but
how many shows do you think?
What? 3 or 4?
Maybe 5 if you count the Spider-Man animated show, which is linked to the MCU. I think it's 5 because you got Daredevil, that Spider-Man one.
Is that a show, Daredevil?
And it's 18 episodes, I believe.
Is that?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
Reborn?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. With everybody coming back. And then 3 other ones.
I don't know. The Daredevil guy, he's one I'd let come back. I appreciated that show. Or his character.
Anything to have D'Onofrio and anything, I'll take. So.
Yeah.
I don't think the animators that would animate the Spider-Man animated show would be the same team as what animate the visual effects in the movies. I don't know, but
make them all do it. Make it do it all.
Yeah, right.
Same skill set.
The whole point being, these movies tend to look bad because it's everyone's stretched out and things aren't always planned. We've talked about many times.
I think we talked about last week. They're shooting the movie not thinking about the visual effects beforehand, and they're having to do it after the movie's been shot and
creating
changes.
Everything.
Yeah,
nothing is like
they're
real.
Giving nothing. They're giving a script and say fill it out.
Yep.
That beach fight too is it's bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Funny fish boys flying around, and it looks bad every time he's flying, and it's already rough, but when it's darker out, but it's the middle of the day. There he is flying around. It's like, oh boy. And then there's just no weight to that fight. And then she rips his little wing off, and I laugh so hard. That's so funny.
I didn't laugh at all in this movie. Intentionally or unintentionally.
So their whole plan is to dry him out, right? So they're going to put him in a flying sauna.
Mm-hmm.
And no one said anything like, we got fish to fry. It's right there.
Jared, this is a somber, serious movie. You can't make jokes.
We have a fish boy flying around with his little wings.
He somehow looks less dumb than the comic version because he doesn't have the slick back hair.
I don't know how that's possible, but okay.
Well, Comic Noir only has a Speedo on, slick back hair, and real big pointy ears, and the little feather feet.
The little flappy feet?
Yeah.
Oh, that shot of him, diving into the water during the Wakanda invasion is one of the worst shots in this whole universe.
That's the thing that hurts a movie, like a comic book movie like that. How do you do that without just making it with the computer?
Well, you had to computer. I'm just saying, this looks bad.
Well, just don't pick that character.
Or
there's plenty of the characters that can do, both have a VFX presence and a real presence. I don't feel like Namor is one of them because it didn't look all that great in the underwater city either.
Oh, everyone moves so slow.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get anything done? You just plan one thing in a day, and that's all you have to do because it takes you half the day to get there.
And you get the scene where Namor's taking Shuri around, and it's so ugly. It's so dark and muddy, and you can't see what it's supposed to be this big, breathtaking scene, and
it's kind of also gross. The whole movie, though.
Yeah.
Part of it's got to be you try to differentiate yourself from the DC stuff, how the two Quicksilvers, the way they run is different.
Yep.
In this case, it's Aquaman, which I remember leading up to the first one, it's how are they going to do a whole movie underwater? Mm-hmm. And they actually pull it off pretty well.
Yep.
So this one's, we got to be different. So they add more weight to it, but then it's okay, maybe this works better in animated form and not live action.
Yeah.
Live action, quote unquote. The look of the movie is just rough. And it was nominated for special effects. Yeah. It doesn't even have the best special effects of the Marvel movies that year.
I'm sort of thinking
Doctor Strange stuff looked way better.
I'm sort of thinking
look better.
I'm sort of thinking that they nominated it based on that one Angela Bassett scene where she's swimming in the throne room after.
Going after
throne room after it's flooded.
Riri, yeah.
It's a nice shot. It's really quick. I thought it was longer. It's 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I thought it was a different framing in my head.
Me too. And also, he flies up to the way, flutters over, and Queen's lying there all like that, which I don't know why it looked funny to me, like just seeing her back. I don't know why this time it's not supposed to be funny, but I was kind of chuckling, like get her out of the water. And they did. Namor is just flapping away right there. He goes, next time I kill you.
No,
just do it right now.
Wasn't it like, I'm gonna give you a week to
or something? Yeah.
Side with us, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, and it's like, just do it right now. You successfully invaded the country. Their guards down. Everyone's beaten up. The Queen's dead. Win. Just do it right now. Why are you waiting? Why are you waiting a week?
For some reason.
And, well, what was the whole point of his character?
Because
got to get rid of Riri, right?
Yeah.
Because Riri invented this thing. She's right there. Just. Whoosh. Not that I want that to happen, but it's kind of dumb because she's just right there. I don't even think the guards were in there yet.
Especially, we don't need another week in a 2.5-hour movie. Come on,
and why a week? Why not tomorrow?
Yeah, 24 hours.
A week. I'll give you a week. It's like, it's right there.
Well, they had to make space for the burial of,
it's Queen Ramonda, right?
Yeah.
And then Shuri to figure out how to properly fabricate the heart.
Yeah, the herb.
Yeah. Did we want to talk about how...
Can we talk about the irony of how she fabricated an herb and took it to change her body but won't get vaccinated in real life?
You heard it here, folks. I think you brought that up when the movie came out. It's like kind of funny how that's how they opened the movie when it was around the time she publicly announced.
Yeah, they had issues filming this movie because
she wouldn't,
and COVID was very prevalent at that time.
Yeah,
that's so funny. Yes, because I remember I think that same year was Death on the Nile that she was in, and that's another Disney produced thing.
Because I was like, look at this poster full of people who are canceled. Russell Brand, Letitia Wright, I think Armie Hammer,
yep.
Who all had big issues leading up to that movie coming out.
I mean,
another ugly looking
was
movie.
It you who said to me that you're only canceled if you accept being canceled?
That is true.
Some comedian said that. I don't remember who. I want to give him credit, but yeah, it's like, you're only canceled if you accept being canceled. Like, you can keep doing things.
Probably sounds like a Matt Rife statement.
Oh, I don't want to give him credit.
Yeah.
All right, and so now we're back with everybody's favorite segment. Jared, did you get a chance to watch Dutch this past week? No?
No, because this movie's very long.
I can see it took most of the week to watch it.
Oh, I did it in one sitting, and what a sitting it was.
Lucky you. It took me 2.
Jake has brought this up ever since the movie came out, too. The thing with Shuri getting over the death of her brother is a good internal problem to have alongside all the external stuff. But they don't do anything with it for most of the movie. It's in the opening scene, and the funeral at the beginning is well done. And then they don't really talk that much about him for most of the movie. And then that scene we just said, which is not even in the movie, it's the mid-credits scene. Now her finally burning the garments and crying on the beach. Mm-hmm. Good scene. Mm-hmm. I wish there was more weight to it.
I genuinely think. I think that's one of the best scenes when they reveal that that's what's his name,
T'Challa
Jr., whatever it is. I think that's one of the best scenes of the movie. The other best scene is the one with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I genuinely think, and I don't know if it would have served what they're doing with the Black Panther comics or anything like that, but I genuinely think that the movie should have been her dealing with her grief about her brother through him as the main antagonist, and just the external struggle of people are now trying to get to Wakanda to take their resources, trying to get them to share it.
Yeah.
We can't have interesting things.
I feel like we've written 3 better movies than this just sitting at this table today. There's so many better things they could have done, but they went with fish people who look terrible in a gross, gloomy cave. And it's just so uninteresting.
And then Everett Ross is in the movie and doesn't really do much.
Nope, he's just there to
tell them about Riri.
Yeah, tell them about Riri, and
that's really it.
Basically, just get Fontaine in the movie so we remember her for the next thing, for Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I did see the trailer for Thunderbolts. That does look amusing.
Yeah. I hope.
I don't know about good, but amusing.
I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see Bad Cat back. I forget how much I enjoy that actor's portrayal. Is it Wyatt Russell, I think?
Yes.
Kurt Russell's kid? Yeah.
Wyatt Russell, David Harbour,
Florence
Pugh.
Yeah. Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, let's see if Bucky's actually a character yet.
Yeah, I hope so.
Doubt it.
I can't remember. Was he much of a character in Captain Falcon?
This is the only time he was a character.
Okay. Can't remember.
Yeah, he was funny and grieving and scared and had his little side plot with the Dora Milaje.
That's right.
When does Brave New World come out?
Is it February?
It's February or March.
Okay. Yeah.
It's in the slot that the first Black Panther and Captain Marvel had. I thought I wrote it down. I don't think I did.
I want to say February 9th, but I think that might be wrong.
Anyway, back to Black Panther. Sorry, Wakanda Forever. I know a lot of people that really like this, but I think whoever chose the soundtrack that goes behind this did a very good job of crafting a vibe for it, because I think it's easy if you're not someone that pays attention to all the different things that a movie can be, all the different performances. I think it's easy to get caught up in the music in it.
It's not as memorable as the first one soundtrack, because that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
The Rihanna song that got nominated is really good, and that's playing during her crying on the beach. I was like, yeah, good scene, good song. It's there, but it doesn't connect the whole movie really, because we don't really talk about him that much, and we don't really show her working through anything. Because at the beginning, when it's like she's pushing herself and then not burning the garments, and it's like I want more of this internal struggle, because we don't really see her struggle like that.
No, and that's why it would have been better to have the internal struggle with Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good scene. The second he's there, it's like he's got way more screen presence than she'll ever have.
Immediately,
yeah. And then and again, there are 3 female main characters who have way more screen chemistry with each other and way more just presence than she does. And I was telling Jake this, when she's raising her fist up and they're yelling the thing on the boat before in the third act.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there going, not feeling it. If Angela Bassett, if Queen Ramonda was still alive and did it, I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
If Okoye does it, I'm feeling it. If Nakia does it, I'm feeling it. Just Shuri, not feeling this.
The other thing is that it's just hard because the movie does not do a good job to get you to feel for Shuri.
Yeah.
It tries. It kind of is predicated on you are sad that Chadwick is not there.
Yep, that's where the emotion comes from.
But if you're not looking at it through that lens, there's no reason to feel for her because she's kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
They're all very kind of jerks to each other. There's not...
Now, if it's she's acting that way because she's lashing out because she can't.
But then you're getting back into the internal struggle, and if we're shown more internal struggle, then we're going to feel for her.
What if she is pushing everyone away more? Because, again, I think you've said, Nick, Riri being in this movie is just one too many things that it's balancing.
Yeah.
That was a fault with the first one. It's doing too much. That's a fault with a lot of these latest Marvel movies. There's too much going on.
Because I don't dislike anything Riri related in this movie. It just doesn't need to be in this movie. There's so many other ways they could have went about this.
I feel like they probably could set Riri up in her own series, which, I mean, she is getting, so...
Yeah, and the thought that a college student is this smart and building stuff in garages, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's one too many things to focus on. And again, the Fish Boy's whole thing is, I need to get rid of her. and she's right there.
Well, and his whole backstory is pretty interesting in and of itself.
Yeah. It is one of those huge exposition dump scenes. It's really long.
Yeah, they need to learn to space those out a bit.
A little bit. Not too much, but that was like 15 minutes of the movie. 15, 20 minutes of the movie was him telling her the story of his mother and all. It's like...
I will admit,
another female performer who I think performed better than Letitia Wright in this movie, with no lines.
Yeah. And Namor himself, I like him.
Yeah.
When he gets all upset, you feel it. There's a little bit of an intimidation factor, and he is pretty powerful. But
is he someone? Is he played by someone famous?
No, it said in introducing.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the first time they've ever done that in any of these. I thought I read. How do you say his name? I'm looking at it. It's Tanak Huerta Mejia. Does that sound right? I don't think he was billed. Right. I don't think he was billed under all three names for this. I think he was just Tanak or Tanok, however you say it. Huerta.
Yeah, I believe so. Because I was just looking it up earlier too.
So.
We'll look at the name. Yeah, I think you have it right.
It's just the movie is full of performances better than our main character.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't say about the first movie, because as much as he's the most boring character, Chadwick's still Chadwick.
His performance is great. It's just they didn't utilize him properly in the movie. Everybody else around him had much more interesting things going on.
Yeah, he had the one moment of the you turned your back on the world. It's a good scene.
Yep.
Don't really get any of those scenes with Shuri in this movie outside of, again, the final scene, which, great scene. Not much behind it outside of external stuff with Chadwick dying. I wish this was better.
Me too.
I remember.
I wanted to love this movie.
I remember. I don't know if I was beside myself excited, because at this point it's like we came off a couple months after Thor, and after that was the disappointment of Doctor Strange, which came off of Spider-Man, which was good, but like it was like one out of the last like six were actually good, because like maybe this is a return to form. Spider-Man we thought was, then we had a meh movie and a bad movie, so it's like maybe this gets them back on track. It doesn't, and the next one doesn't.
Not even a little bit.
So it's it's a rough. It's been rough. Post Endgame has been very rough. As everyone
we had Guardians to look forward to.
I mean,
we do.
I mean, to be fair to them, they did say that they were not gonna. I remember it being a big thing, like what's next for the MCU, what's planned, and they did say we're gonna do one-offs for a while and not really plan anything.
Yeah,
and they did. They weren't as good.
Were they even one-offs? So if they keep having all these strings trying to connect everything.
I don't know. See, that's where I'm confused. I don't know if they really meant we're only going to do one-offs, or
nothing stands up by itself that well.
They're just trying to misdirect us.
They should have just told the writers and directors, hey, make your movie. Don't try to connect it to anything. Like, you can reference past stuff and then take those movies and try to figure out what they want to do from there instead of connect it to a million things and not know what direction to go in.
So do MCU Phase 1 again.
Yes, please.
What is the last MCU movie that stands up on its own well? Because it's been a while. Because as good as Spider-Man is, a lot of that is balanced on knowing the two previous franchises.
That's fair.
So it's like we can't count that one. And then like Doctor Strange, a lot of that balances on the first Doctor Strange. Like,
is the first Doctor Strange the last one that stands up on its own?
That or maybe Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be Captain Marvel.
Because Captain Marvel, yeah, it does have Infinity Stones and like the Tesseract in it, but
you could maybe argue Ragnarok does kinda like less, but
I think it's Captain Marvel. While not, we talked about it.
Yeah, it's not phenomenal.
It's solid.
It.
Yeah,
it's one of those like, yeah, if that was the first movie, there'd be stuff that wouldn't work still.
And it did a lot that the MCU didn't do before.
Yeah, I think
nice.
I think it's Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Captain
it
Marvel
also is kind of a retcon in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right? They never retcon anything in this universe.
No, never. They wouldn't.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'd written down.
I wish we'd get more Lupita Nyong'o in the greater MCU instead of just these standalone Black Panther movies. It's just refreshing to see her.
I wish we got more of her just in movies in general. Not that she isn't.
She's got a decent year this year with Quiet Place, and we have Wild Robot.
Yep.
I think she has another one this year, too.
It's just it had been a bit.
Yeah.
Which, if it's she's taken time off between projects, as people do, because you don't want to be working every single second.
Especially if she's picking projects she's passionate about, which it seems like she has been.
Yeah. So, if that's the case, of course, it's great. Just, she's really good.
Yeah.
So, and Angela Bassett didn't win for this. And I'm okay with that, because
I was gonna say,
I don't want an MCU movie winning an Oscar for acting, because it's really the two scenes. And she lost to the right movie. Mm-hmm. She lost to the wrong person from that movie. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. That's Stephanie Shu's win all over. Like, when I rewatched it, because it was after the Oscars, watching Everything Everywhere, it's like, Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan are great. This movie is held together by Stephanie Shu.
Mm-hmm. She has to do so much.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is very heavy lifting for that movie.
Yeah, so I think Angela Bassett not winning is not the travesty some people said it was. I think she had won the Globe. That's why I think I predicted her to win the Oscar.
Yeah.
She didn't. The right movie got it, but the wrong person got it. And everyone said that online, too. Mm-hmm. It should have been Stephanie Shu. Yeah, and that's it. Also, I think the only win for this at the Oscars was costume, which, yeah, I think it was was it Ruth Carter again? I would be surprised if it wasn't. Where are you? Costumes. Yep. So, I'm fine with Ruth Carter getting another Oscar.
I guess one more compliment for this movie. I liked the boat scene at the beginning where they're whistling and siren songing all
Everyone
these soldiers.
Everyone just starts walking.
I really enjoyed that. I wish there was more of that.
It's very The Happening.
Yeah. Good scene. Could have been a great scene in a better movie. But it was shot like this movie was shot, so it wasn't great.
I think they were singing.
Yeah, they was like singing.
They were like harmonizing.
Yeah.
It's almost like the first chunk of the movie, like the first little bit, and because even the fight with where they capture the French guys.
Yeah.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the first chunk of the movie, and then the very end are good, and everything in between is just not.
Yeah.
Outside of a couple bright spots. Yeah. So I do feel bad for Ryan Coogler and company, kind of having to pick up the pieces, figure out what to do, completely change their whole movie.
They should have, if anything, just simplified this movie. Seems like they made it way more complicated.
I mean, we make the point all the time. It doesn't feel like it was their movie to direct.
Yeah.
It feels like same with Doctor Strange 2. Same with all of the sequels, basically.
There is a director, there is a filmmaker's voice, and it gets ripped away from them because this has to fit the universe.
Except for Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Do whatever he wants.
I think,
and to be fair, James Gunn as well. But James Gunn
makes better movies.
Used his power wisely.
Yeah.
It also might be just because Taika's louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
That's all I got, too. So,
is it, Jake? Okay.
We're going to end with everybody's other favorite segment, Nick.
Yes.
Did you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Of course not. There's no
why?
reason
You
at
had
this
Martin
point.
Freeman.
Is he in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
He's a S.H.I.E.L.D.-ish. No, he's a CIA. Never mind.
Yeah, so he's not even with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, then...
Ask me at Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't remember, but maybe they mentioned something about something in there.
Oh, there is one thing.
To watch that.
There is one thing. It has nothing to do with like talking about the movies. Just as I sat there to, amuse myself because I wasn't having any fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think about every 5 minutes I was singing to myself a little ditty by the funny little fish man with his little flying feet. That's it. And then every time pop up, I'd sing it again. Oh. I just kept singing it over and over.
It's bad when you have to make your own entertainment during a movie.
Yep. All right. So, are we done?
I
don't want to talk about this movie
I really
anymore.
want to be done. So, that's our thoughts on Black Panther. If you want to keep on trekking on with us as we keep getting tired here. Jared, where can they find us in the off days?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell. Make sure you check us out and rate us on all those apps, and check out our groovy website.
And then make sure when you go on YouTube, you like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notified every time that we upload new videos. And then come on back next week. What do we got next week? Oh, we have a red letter week next week. Oh my gosh. I might sleep in this next upcoming episode.
Quantum Mania.
Wah, wah, wah.
Whereas the last couple, the last like 3, we wanted to be good and weren't. This one, we knew wasn't going to be good, and we were still let down. In the words of, what's his name from Malcolm in the Middle that I said the other week? What's the youngest one's name? Dewey. I don't remember the quote. We said it the other day, but I remember it's like I'm still let down. What's the first half of it?
My expectations were already low, and I'm still let down.
I'm still let down. All right. But, yeah.
Other than that, come on back next week as we just get more and more phased out.
I'm ready to talk about What's the Duke. Let's go. Oh my god, I have things to talk about for this movie. It's so boring.